So I don't like to get too complex. You could really layer all sorts of different entities and things like that and have different entities set up in different states and all sorts of things that can get pretty complex. But the question I have for you is, what type of business is it? If it's a similar type of business and it's going to have similar type of asset group that it's going to own, you may want to consider having it in one company, only because there's kind of a push and pull with regard to what you're asking. It depends on how much administrative cost that you want to go through and incur, as opposed to how much limited liability protection you're going to save with that, right? So because as you set up separate companies or layer different types of companies comes with administrative issues, right? Multiple tax returns sometimes, right? Insurance policies, different. So if there's the same asset group, right? If it's a similar type of business and you're just expanding the business, you may want to consider keeping it in one company. If it's a completely different type of business and you want to separate those liabilities and exposure, then you probably want to set up a new company.
Okay, so from just general liability, if they're separate, you're better off having two.
Right, because you wouldn't want to mix exposure with company A and company B, right? So if they're different type of assets, for example, if you have homes that you're renting out and you have them in an LLC, but then you're going to buy a big commercial property, right? Big strip mall. Well, all those exposures are a little different. You may want to consider having them in different entities to separate themselves, right? But again, like I said, a lot of times you have to consider how much exposure you have as opposed to how much administration issues that you were going to incur.
In that case, would you have a parent company and then one for the investment and one for the
You could, and Todd can go into some of the complexities of having a parent company. Like you can structure a parent company that would own subsidiaries and then consolidated tax returns, right? And how that's going to be taxed, because you can't have, only people can own S corps. So now you're talking about a C corp, right? Or a LLC tax like a partnership. So that can get a little complex. So it really depends. It's not that you can't do it, and it's not that it's not the best vehicle for you in your situation, but there are some complexities to setting things up like that.